There you go. Why do you do that? Remember when I told you about right clicking and pinning? Here you go.
All right, call the meeting to order.
Sure.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You all participants upon entry. No way anybody else jumps in. It doesn't. Here you go.
Yep, roll call.
Pete,
Here.
Rick,
Here.
Ray,
Here.
James here, Sarah's absent.
Okay, public comment on agenda items. A conflict of interest declared by anyone. Approval of agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second that. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Public hearing? We had no public hearing, but. Approval of planning commission meetings from last month. February.
Also, looking at the prior month from December,
Yeah, that's
the amended.
Unfinished business.
Okay,
That was.
all right.
Business. Yep, we're doing what we do.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the department's minutes.
I'll second it. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay, moving on to reports, zoning administrative report.
All right, I'll cover the last one because it was for the month of February when I was still on. So no permits, no land divisions. It's a very quiet month overall. Spent the majority of the time training. So Brent and I were training the guys, getting him up to speed. So that's the majority of what I did. So pretty quiet month overall.
Okay, moving on, so there are no permits, correct? Permits,
Sorry, yeah.
okay, moving on, unfinished business. Approval of December 24 meeting.
They've been corrected from December, it was the date, the time, and we just need approval so that I can post them and turn them in.
I'll make a motion to approve the amended minutes from December.
Okay to make changes on this copy as I see them. Supervisor BT, I think that should be zoning administrator. We talked about last time,
Where is that, Ray? Under what?
on the top of the back page. And also under communications.
Do you want to approve of those amendments? Is that what you're saying?
I'd like to make those changes and then approve it.
Table this so next month.
Pardon?
I said then we'll have to table that till next month.
No, I think we're supposed to make the changes as you cross them out. Right, like 7/18, you changed to 8/18, and the date you changed, you mark through that.
And I will do that, and we'll bring them back next month.
Oh, okay. I think the changes we made was it January or February, January's meeting,
We approved those with those amendments, so I was able to do that, yes.
yeah,
You don't want to do that with this one, you said.
yes, I want to do that same way.
So you do want to approve December's with those amendments.
With those changes made. Now,
But you just said you wanted to see it before you did.
I'm sorry, I want to change them now, cross them through, and put them, make it correct now, so we can approve them.
So then you need to make a motion to do that with those amendments.
Okay, I'll make a motion. To make those two changes on the December meeting. As corrected.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, changes have been made. Okay, let's back to unfinished business. Citizen planner program.
Yeah, I went ahead and signed everybody up. You should have all got your email for it. So we're all signed up for all of those sessions. So beginning, I believe, April 10th
April 10th
is the first start date. And then it's 6 to 9 on Thursday, and then every Thursday for the next 6 weeks. And you're signed up as well. So you guys are all set.
You said we should have got an email on it? I haven't seen that.
I thought I sent you guys an email.
I think you know, what I was gonna say.
Thanks for taking care of that,
Let
Jane.
me mark and see. If not, I will send that out to you, but I thought I did. But anyway, we're signed up, and I'll get the email to you.
Time is this?
6.
6?
Yep,
And where?
it's the Wells Township. The Wells.
Well,
Township.
Economic.
Let's get up
It's
Township.
not a township hall.
But where is that? In
Flat
Wells? Oh, is it Flat Rock? I'm going to the wrong place. Let's see. all I had on that one. So I'll get you the.
Zoning ordinance bids.
QVAC, is the only bid at this time. It's about $25,000.
Request is, you still want us to proceed with getting that approved from the board.
The board, right? Yes.
I assume that's the answer, but we're just following protocol here, so, okay. So then Monday, because I won't be around, when it comes up, and Kay will help you, you're gonna want the bids. And all the members of the board that ask for that. So, okay. They very much know what's coming, but.
All right, moving on to new business. Suggestion for future projects. Think we ever need to win?
How big of one would you like? Asking, I mean, when you say that, what's a future project to you guys?
Zoning ordinance change would be a big one, I think, I feel.
Which is 25? Okay, right?
So we're looking at, well, that's
No, but that's, again, the stuff like this, it's needed. Needed to be done, you know, so, okay. I had bigger ones than that, but if that's enough for this year, that's good. Yeah. I just wanna get it out there, that's all, just. The township's not poor. Oh, I shouldn't say that, I don't know who's listening there.
Steve's listening.
Nice, Steve. I mean, we have money and you could, there's ways of floating bonds, financing them and again, it's just putting that in people's ears. And I know he's giving me the daggers right now is the Rick Ness Municipal Complex, you know, assisting with trying to get the estimates, bids, you know, it's gonna take multiple years before and combine this whole old stuff and get it all under modern. I'd like to before I die to see this happen, you know, so I've just thrown it out there, but it has to start, I believe, with you guys. Right?
There's been some discussion, however, I think really what needs to happen first. Is they need to secure some sort of funding by a grant or however, I mean, obviously they need to go and get a budget number.
Correct. You can't go out and get that with the feds.
But you gotta make sure you can get the budget and the
Right,
money for
but
it.
they
So,
have some
that's
sort of
trying first and
concept
foremost.
to present, so you
Yeah.
can even something, so,
Yeah.
cause I feel the money is gonna be out there. In the next year or two, as things get changed in the governments, because again, the thing that hit me was when we had the power outage in this area a year or two ago, and you know, Steve had talked to FEMA and this to set this up, and it's really not set up. We really don't have anywhere for people. The old school, yeah, you know, Park River is, they have big areas, they got a kitchen, they have place, you know, to serve a couple hundred people if you need to put cots and that, you know. We don't have anything, or Red Cross to come and hand out emergencies. We're not really set up for that, so, when you look on that plaque. Back there, this is a 50-60-year-old area, so just to bring it up to. You know, 2030, when this could be completed, maybe, you know, I'm just saying, look, future plans, just, that's my thing of a goal. For the township, you know. Thank you.
Anybody else? Move on then to introducing the new zoning administrator. Hi, Brett.
He introduced himself to you guys, and I sent you guys his application or his resume, so you guys could be all familiar with him, and
So what brings you here, Brett?
Don't ask him saying what's going on. I'm from Escanaba, I wanna see it be a good place to live, I mean, I like being involved and knowing what's happening and. It's a volatile time, I think, politically, and I think we need the right people in the right spots who have the right values, and that's what I hope I can bring.
What is your background,
Work-wise.
yeah,
So I have a degree in criminal justice, I've done juvenile delinquency mostly, juvenile probation. Worked for Bay Pines Center here in Escanaba, which is maximum security juvenile detention. Before that, I managed an Anytime Fitness. So human services is my
okay.
professional.
So the, this position obviously is gonna be a learning curve for you. I mean,
For
that's
sure,
the time.
I'm learning and I'm finding that out.
Yeah. It's not a position I would care for, but
Yeah,
kudos to you for taking it on. I wish you luck and I hope it works out.
why wouldn't you want it, just because you ruffle feathers kind of thing?
No, not necessarily from that, just from a workload perspective, from what I do, I wouldn't have the time to deal with it. And you are correct, sometimes it can be very difficult to deal with people
Right.
in the public sector, so.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know exactly what I was getting myself into, I guess I still don't, I'm just starting. But, I mean, I'm looking forward to it,
So, Charlie, are you gonna hang in with him for how long, I guess would be my question.
So this is pretty much my handoff to him, right?
Okay.
But my phone is always on, it's always available, you can always call, I will never not, may not be able to answer the phone, but I'll always call him back.
yeah, he's been helpful and just show me what he can, I mean, there's a lot, and, but.
Sure.
Biggest thing are the meetings for me, like, I'm literally on call, so I could get a flipping phone call here and I'd have to leave, right, so,
Yeah,
yeah, so that's just. For me, it's just, I couldn't do it anymore, so.
You want a taser?
better than that.
And your report to the board,
Yeah,
wait, tell them you want a $500 increase.
right away.
Right away, trust me. Told him the same thing. Ain't paying you, no, I'm just kidding, it's a good way to learn stuff,
Yeah, I gotta learn, see what
You know,
happens.
yeah.
Looking
I
forward to
can't
it.
say that I can help you, that I want to. No, I just, I mean, you'll see me around here and there, I mean, I'm
What's your name, sir?
Dennis, I'm deputy treasurer, I'm
Oh.
a Kansas deputy, so I'm
Oh,
around doing stuff and
Yeah,
avoiding Jane as much as I can.
oh, wow,
Yeah, so.
okay, yeah, looking forward to, get going, see what happens.
do positive mental attitude, that's what I tell my kids, so, right?
That's right.
You're fine, get that taser quick.
Taser. Can I ask, is that for internal use? Moving on to planning commission minutes.
Oh, yes, I reached out and I apologize, I know January, there's a lot of, I evidently have a big brain fart when I was doing it, and there was a lot of mistakes, but those are corrected and amended like we talked about, those will get posted. But I did reach out to the Michigan Township Association and I sent you guys emails, and then I copied these, or what they suggest how we do things. One of the big things is that we not send the minutes out ahead of time, that they go along with the packets. I used to always send them to you guys a couple of days later. They are done within the 8 days after the meeting, if anybody wants to FOIA the draft, but they shouldn't go to anybody except one person, and I'll send that to Sarah, since she's the deputy secretary, and that's only for grammar and spelling mistakes. Nothing else can be changed in those minutes until it comes in front of the commission. So, if you guys wanna look it over, if there's anything else you wanna talk about or whatever, but that I thought both of those were very good, tools to use. question, so that's just a FYI for you guys. So.
Yeah, moving on to addition to list of ordinance change suggestions.
It came up on the board or the budget, I can't remember one of the meetings we had about, that we're going to start going with these new ordinances to do a citation base. And one of the things was brought up that we should make sure, and I was gonna give this to Sarah, since she's kind of keeping a list of what we're looking at. That make sure before anybody gets issued either a special use permit or whatever, that they have no outstanding citations or any kind of outstanding balances. That's something that we may wanna look into putting in to the zoning ordinance.
Does that include like back taxes and stuff like that?
I guess that's up to us. Like I said, it's just a suggestion to go on the list. Remember we said we're gonna keep a list of questions and things we wanted, so that would be another thing too, if there's taxes. If we can do that, I think that's a good idea.
Right.
But that's something that, just so we have it in our minds, when we come time to do it, that these are some of the points we wanna talk about.
That's cool.
But I'll make sure, I'll probably keep that on, or, and I'll give that to her.
Yeah, I'd like to see our process for special uses and even for regular uses. Showing the site plan after the health department does their permitting. And possibly the road commission, the city addressing, or county addressing. So a lot of that's gonna, what we approve, it's gonna have to be possibly changed, especially with the health department, with the water issues in the areas that we serve.
So you want them to, I'm just questioning, you know, the logic of it.
It would be my suggestion, and I've talked to a few people about this, is having the health department issue their permits prior to us getting a site plan permit approval given.
I guess, correct me if I'm wrong, but when I look at a site plan, basically what we're looking at is setback requirements, zoning issues. As far as the person to move forward, they would still need those other permits anyway, the health department, or if it's a driveway or a culvert issue or whatever from. I guess I'm trying to understand why we would want them to have that first before we would do anything. I guess why would we wanna do it that way? I guess that's just a question.
Start with, we gotta have an address for a structure, right? And if we don't get the addressing permit first, we don't have an address. And for the health department, with the way the water table is around here, maybe raising the house and putting it in a different location would have a bearing on where the septic system and the well are.
It will, but I mean, as long as
And
the,
then we
proposed, I mean, if it's a proposed home or whatever it is on the property. I see your point there. I guess you're probably right. It should probably be laid out, you know, ahead of time with the health department, so they know that they still meet their setback requirements when they come to us. I guess that does make sense.
And I think the way the, Public Act 110, the definition for site plan, I think we talked about this a couple meetings ago. Regarding the site plan definition. Requires that information also from all state and federal agencies. And I have talked to the health department, and I know from my own experience, I had to appeal my septic system because I had the house there before I got the health department permit. And
What did they make you do?
I had to have an excavation dug out, or I could put it up on a hill and have a lift station put in. Which that's been 30 some years ago, and things have changed since then. But I possibly would have put a different type of house in instead of a tri-level. I might have went to a single level with a basement. Health department also told me sometimes even going one block higher with a basement, take care of a septic issue.
I guess my question is, and maybe I'm not understanding that, is it the township's responsibility to do the septic, or is that's the homeowners?
It's a
So
homeowner.
why would
Is
we
there,
have anything to do
well, what
with
he's
it?
saying, the logic behind it is to meet the setback requirements, they need to know, I mean, if they're in an area where the water table is high. And they already have a plan to us that shows the house being in a certain spot on the property,
Right.
and then they go and have the health department after the fact. Go over there to do a perk test, and it ends up, well, gee, you know, you need to put your septic where your house is, because that's the high spot.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And so I get what he's saying, I mean, you know, perhaps they should do a survey before they come here, and then with the site plan showing the septic and the well, and then we would make sure that they're meeting the setback requirements for the structure.
But that would be their decision, that wouldn't be a.
Well, it's their problem,
That's
correct?
their-
It's
right,
the
so-
owner's problem to have that done, but what he's saying is they should have it done before they come here to get the permit from us.
I think if you check a lot of the other townships, and counties, you'll find a form that they have required that information before they apply for a zoning permit.
Mhm.
And I would like to see, long run, a form developed by this township with that information on there. They can go to a website and pull that form up and see what's required. They can even print the form and have it filled out. And then we can go out after they've got all that information and do our part.
I guess I just feel that that's up to them, and I don't wanna get into something where they give us that, and then we miss something, and then they come back and it was wrong, and they say, oh, but the township said I could do this.
Or they made me do it,
Pardon?
or the township made me.
Yeah, I just feel that the septic system and then what we do here and what the health department does should stay as two separate. And that's my feeling, that's my thought on it.
Well, it's still not.
Yeah, mine's 3 years old and I went through all this and, I had to raise up mine 3 feet. But I already had permit. And then the health department's like, you know, and I had to get a mound septic put in. So I'm like, I wasn't happy, but you know what, I'm happy now, but the township had nothing to do with it.
Correct, that's all I'm saying, is the
So-
township shouldn't have anything to do
No,
with
but
it.
I mean, what he's getting at is saying that you have an instance where you bring the health department out there before you own the property, right?
Right.
You bring the health department out there before to make sure that you're, number one, gonna pass the perk test.
Yeah.
And number two, where are you gonna put the house in relationship to where the septic system goes, and then you have to have separation between that and the well. And if you have a piece of property that has got some wetlands on it, or the water table's high, you may not be able to perk it over on this corner, but it may perk over here in this corner.
Yeah.
It's gonna, you know, that's gonna change the layout of where the structure's gonna go, and then when you do that, you gotta make sure the structure meets the setback requirements from the property lines or the road or whatever. So I get what he's saying, I mean, it does make sense.
And I agree, but again, I look at it, what does the township have to do with it?
It doesn't, but the fact of the matter is, it would make it a lot simpler for us if that information was on there when they come in here and said, yeah, we got it all set. This is where we want the structure to go. It doesn't have anything to do with us, the health department part of it, but it does as far as the layout on the property. So it makes it simpler for us to say, yep, they got their, I get it. I mean, they have their system all laid out, the house is going here, meets the setback requirements, boom, here's your permit. So, I mean, to me, after thinking about it, it does make sense.
Yeah.
Another thing, we have smaller lots too. We gotta take into consideration the septic and the well for the neighbors. Existing.
Yep.
And another thing, Eagle now requires, I think, a permit within 500 feet of a water, right?
I am not sure about that.
So,
That's handled by Jack Scott, Jack Smith. Jack Smith, yeah. Soil conservation, it's also.
okay, soil conservation or, you know, I think the county does that now for Eagle Ridge, soil conservation.
Yep,
So it just would save our property owners possibly more than having us going back out the second time. They've got to get those permits anyhow.
They do, yeah. And that is up to the owner, it isn't up to us.
Right, right.
But I see what you're saying, if you have it on as a prerequisite for the permit from the township, that information be presented, I think that does make sense, I mean, it makes it easier for everybody in the end, I mean. Especially the landowner, I mean, they're,
Right.
you know,
Now, you know, if,
I mean, it's a matter of just putting the questions on the, you know, the permit and making sure that they have the information. I mean, it's not hard to do.
I think forms are a big thing in today's world. To help us and help the property owner.
And QPAC will help you with that, as part of the redoing the ordinance.
All right, let's move on to status and master plan.
I mean, but, is this what you asked for?
Yes, I think a couple months ago, or a month ago, we talked about that. I think according to the laws, we're supposed to, and I think I gave you a copy of Felch Township. And did we look at that and determine that, we've got to take care of that issue and it's got to be part of the master plan according to Public Act 33. And should I read this the way I see it?
What issue are you talking about, Ray?
Pardon?
What issue are you talking about?
Master plan.
But what's I don't understand what, you
Well,
say master plan
that-
issue, but I don't know what the two.
The resolution shall refer expressly to the maps and descriptive and other matter intended by the planning commission to form the master plan. A statement recording the planning commission's approval of the master plan signed by the chairperson or secretary of the planning commission shall be included on the inside of the front or back cover of the master plan. And if the future land use map is separate document from the text of the master plan on the future land use map. Following approval of the proposed master plan by the planning commission, the secretary of the planning commission shall submit a copy of the master plan to the legislative body. I think on the back of that Felch, there was a list of how they handled it. And this was, I think pretty sure QPAD did the same thing, and I think if you look at our master plan from 15 years ago, you'll see that signed on the back of I think it was on the back of the back page of the master plan.
So you want a resolution?
We need, the way I read this, maybe you wanna put this off for a month and take another look at it, so you understand what's supposed to happen.
And that's the only problem is the resolution, we just have to include that?
Right. The other thing, it's gotta be on the part of the master plan.
It has to be in the paperwork.
Right,
So, Brett, we do have a copy of the master plan. You can just take that document and
Right.
put it on the inside back page, or the inside page. Where do I have it? He's got a copy he can give you. Gosh.
But we have to pass it first, you can't do it.
Well, no, but I'm just
Yeah.
letting him know, cause I've got to look at how am I
Yeah,
gonna do this.
I'll let you.
Yeah.
Dan will help you out.
you
I
want,
understood
you
that.
want it now or another copy or do you need?
No, I have that copy.
Okay,
But
you
so
got a
you
copy?
want, so what you want is for us to do a resolution.
We need a resolution.
Okay, so we'll do that next one, because we're not doing it now, I mean, I don't have it, we don't have it written up now.
Table.
Okay.
So you want me to write a resolution for the next meeting, we'll do one, and then that's it, is there anything else?
No,
It's just that.
make sure it's printed in the back of the master plan.
And then you said the front, it's supposed to
Or
be the front of it, isn't
back
it?
of the front page.
Yeah,
You have a copy of the law?
I think you gave that to us last
Yeah.
time, yeah. I've got mine.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, let's move on to short-term rental discussion.
That's something that I brought up also, is it? That-
Yeah, you had it on your list.
Okay,
So you, yeah, I kind of combined it, you know, the short-term rental discussion. So I think your thing was what's approved and what's not approved, I think was what you asked for.
right, and whether we had to do a annual special use permit approval.
So we wrote the lawyer again, I still have not gotten a response. As far as that goes, so, best thing I would suggest there is talk to Steve. And see if he can't maybe press a little bit, I know he's out here, but after the meeting, you know, give Steve a call and say, hey, can you press the lawyer to give us an answer? On that, because we have the question on the 14th Amendment from the standpoint of doing it every year renewal. Now, you guys do your zoning ordinance, right? And you make that a fee, a renewal fee, not a special use permit renewal. That's a completely different story, and that's something you guys can take care of. If you decide to do that with the zoning ordinance change, that's totally up to you guys. But I did ask the question. So,
And along that same line, I had wondered where we stand on that one down there that's got that log.
so what I did was I took the discussion, we did that today, actually, and I sent an email. Basically, she's got three options based on the ordinance. She can treat it like a camper and rent it for 90 days or less. She can actually frame in the front deck, because it has a roof and a deck. She can actually frame that in, and with that framing, she is about 600 square feet. And then the other option, she can ask for an ordinance change. A change for the ordinance. That's really her three options, or not rented at all. So we're waiting to hear back from her on what she would like to do.
Was that, approved by the building inspector, you know?
You know, I will be honest, I was meant to call him, but then his son passed away and I never went back. I apologize. I'll talk to you about that, so you can call him.
And how about,
Well, actually, you're gonna talk to him anyway. You talk to him tomorrow anyway. Yeah,
how about a permit for soil conservation? Within 500 feet of the lake, it looked to me like they were within 500 feet of the lake.
they are within 500 feet of the lake. That's correct. But again, I think we'll have to get a better understanding, because this is soil. You have to disturb the soil, right? They literally put down a piece of concrete pad and flopped down the house, so I'm not sure what he considers like disruption. Lake level is bad now. Well, I understand it still goes by the high level mark. Oh, they always are considered by the high level mark. So. I'll talk to you about that after, so you can ask the question. So,
And how about those that are operating that are not approved?
we've got a whole list.
Yeah, I have a huge list of them, so my thing would be for, I don't know if you guys plan on writing fines or what. If they're not enforced, what I say means nothing, so as far as I've heard. Some have been fined, but nothing happens, so. If there's no punishment, nothing's gonna happen essentially, so, I guess that has to be. What, what's that? I mean,
You're not the only one. It's been discussed, that's the only,
Well, that's the whole point of doing the citation, right?
right,
right,
So. Do the citation, we just keep doing that, where the other one, you have to go to the court. And the court say yes, and then try to get your costs back, and that's all cost with the lawyer, yeah.
well, the Bettini case, apparently, I read that. Case brief, she lost, Conomopolis ruled against her. But from my knowledge, she's still doing it. She hasn't paid anything, she's just, too bad, I'm doing it anyway, so. Unless there is an actual penalty, people are just gonna be doing it, I mean, where are you guys on this issue?
Is that a commission issue or is that a board issue?
That is a board
It's a
issue,
board
so
issue.
you wanna go,
Okay,
what you really wanna do is you wanna issue another letter. And based on the court order, blah, 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 right, but then you wanna get the lawyer involved, you have to talk to Steve, get the lawyer involved, because there's a cost with that. So, yes, and I know that Steve and that lawyer, the one in Open Market, has had a conversation with that, but I have no idea where they're at with that, so you'll have to have a conversation with Steve.
okay.
What the next steps are for that one.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, another thing, we've got a couple that's been through the zoning board of appeals, but they're down, they're still operating. And I wonder how that's gonna be handled.
Gotta take him to court. The only thing you got, and it's all private roads. So, they're all private roads, so that's the only option you got at this point, so it's really up to the board and up to the planning commission. Do you put a pause, go through your zoning ordinance changes, figure out what you're gonna do, then start writing citations? Or do you start taking them all to court? That's really is.
Well, you'd only take like one or two at a time to court. But yeah, I mean, is that something you want, you wait until the new ordinance is read or what?
That's really a discussion for Steve,
Okay.
for
And the
the
board.
supervisor.
It's a board thing, because it involves money, taking the court would involve money, so that would go through the board.
But I would still issue all those letters that we went, the list, issue them all a letter saying they're in violation, and then after that, it's really up to Steve. And the board.
One of those is for sale now.
Yep,
Which one are you referring to?
the one that was actually approved.
The log home,
Well, the log home, yeah. I think you got.
That was just sold if I'm, if I'm thinking of the one you're referring to, the Lacoste residence. Is that what you're referring to?
Was that the one in the private road?
Yep,
that's one on private road.
So that was actually, that was recently sold, just a few weeks ago,
I
actually,
think one of the first ones when we got, it used to be.
but the person plans on renting it out. Still, so I've been told.
I guess it's my feeling, you know, if we're gonna go through the process and nothing happens,
Right,
there's no sense going through the process. You know, we might as well forget the whole zoning ordinance.
No, part of it's the board, I mean, we're still, I push it, and there's another one or two members that we are still pushing to go forward with this, it's just a lot of it involves lawyers and outcomes of trials and.
I mean, think
What we
about
can
it,
do.
she started that case. It was 18 months before we had a ruling,
There was a lot of time.
well, I think it was almost 18 months
Mhm.
before we had a ruling, so. Yeah, so I mean, you think about that, right, and you've got a list of probably 20, I think now, that we found, that, I mean, Debbie did a great job finding. So we can send all that out, right, and some of it maybe just R2s that, hey, just need to get a permit, and they come in and they get the permit, but. It's really a board and Steve question at this point, how do you wanna proceed, you know? So. Yeah. But that's where I can do at this point. Until you get the citation power, then you can just, you know what I mean?
right,
But I, as a board member, I would not vote that we just table it till we get the citation, do what we can now, I mean, it's just gonna keep getting worse, it's already got worse, we're up to 20, so.
Yeah,
But I, again, am one person, so one vote, so.
All right, let's move on to update on the microbrewery.
That's one that I've also brought up, I think we had, supposed to have a 1 year review on that, according to the original permit.
yeah, when did we approve that?
I don't think it's been a year, is it?
No, it hasn't been a year, has it?
It's getting close, if it hasn't been, it's probably.
January of 24.
Is it? Yeah, that's nice. Well, one thing though, you and I had talked about, you gotta do an inspection. Yeah,
I think they had a land division or something in the area, and they did add on
Yes.
new ramp or something.
So what do we do, do they have to come and
Yeah, they gotta come back.
So, like, right, allowed to them, then tell them to come back, and now then that would be a public hearing, and we'd have to advertise.
But as far as, it's up to you guys. So I don't think it was, I don't know if it was a 1-year renewal or a 1-year review, I don't remember. I'll have to look.
So, well, because then if we have to do a public hearing, we can put the notice out.
Yeah. So if it's just a review, if it's a review, then you don't have to.
Says restrictions to be reviewed in 1 year. Anyone want to see that?
Yeah,
It's
so,
on the minutes.
right, so with that, being a review,
We don't have to do a public hearing.
not a public hearing. If it's a renewal, then it is a public hearing. But yeah, you would want to write them a letter and say, please attend the April meeting so we can go through restrictions, see if. I don't know, I haven't heard any complaints, but. You may hear complaints, I don't know.
The all, right, the owner of the letter, you think,
What's that?
the owners of the brewery.
Yeah.
you think?
Yeah.
They open?
Huh?
Are they open yet?
Yeah. Which, February, I think they open,
So if we have a copy of that, we would have a copy of that, right?
what's that?
From the special use permit.
Go ahead.
So if you could get, if you get a copy of that, would you fax it to me or email it to me? Not fax.
It would be in their
Email it to me.
The property. Should be in there.
That way then we can look at it when they come in to the, we will have it in the meeting.
We want bylaw review and update.
Another issue I brought up, I feel that if we have some time, we may want to review the bylaws. I don't think that's been done for another 10 or 15 years. Possibly something else we should look at, if we got time to do that sometime.
We can get a copy of them and put them in next month's agenda if you want.
Be good.
I think they're on the website.
They are,
Yeah.
at least they were, or the new one, they were up good.
Okay, moving on to short-term rental rules.
We just discussed that, so.
Special use permit applications.
Yeah, we got this piece.
Yeah, we have, one from Mike Amel. Wants to go to pole line. Over 1,500 square feet. He presented to the commission last year at some time, but Eagle made him move the original spot.
So in this case, if you're giving them an update on
Yeah.
that special use permit,
Yeah,
it's not a renewal or an application.
okay,
You still need to go do an inspection and write a new permit in and of itself. Cause the building was approved, he's not changing the building,
right.
he's changing the location of that building. So,
So does he have to does Mike have to fill out a new special use permit and bring it to us?
the only thing you may wanna have them do, and that's up to you guys, if you really want them to come in and tell them, have him show you where he's gonna move the building, you can do that. You can't charge him twice for,
No.
no, if you change the size of the building, or if you change the function of the building, that's a whole other story.
But the location still has to meet setback, right? So maybe that's-
Setbacks.
Yeah,
Is that on the same lot or is that a different lot?
same, should be the same one, I don't know.
I don't know. Cause he owns a couple different lots, I believe.
There's two lots right next to each other.
Okay.
I think the smart thing to do is be to have him refill it, update it, so to speak, not pay again, but just update where the new one's gonna go. I think that'd be the simplest,
guys.
that's my suggestion, that'd be the simplest thing, do we don't,
I mean, you need to know one, yeah.
no. Yeah, so just have them come in and say this is, and we can change the location of it and go from there. If it's still fine within, we should be fine.
show the dimensions that are from the lines,
Mhm.
obviously.
Yeah. Yeah, so just have them do that, we won't charge them again, but just know locations, basically.
Good.
And we're covered too.
What's the reason he's changing that location, do you know?
Eagle said it was wetlands to the original prospective spot to build.
That's why you have Eagle do that, because I get stick that up when I went there at lunchtime.
Where's this one located? I'm trying to think, is this over here by, Ocean?
So it's, yeah, it's south of Noceum on the lake side, so it's R2.
Okay.
Okay, move on to ZBA application.
No.
Communications, nothing. Public comment on non-agenda items.
Okay, didn't start the
That's
time.
where you start in 3 minutes.
Make sure you're gonna do it right,
Oh,
say your name.
It's Dennis Frankie, 3920 J5 Road. This may have been covered from what I'm reading on, or may have been addressed. But I'm asking on behalf of several other residents, on the zoning for chickens without roosters. I'm an RR, okay? My whole area is RR, except my neighbor has 1 acre, which falls under that. He can have chickens. The neighbor across the street has 3 acres, they have chickens. But there's employees here, an employee here that has 20 acres. Can't have chickens. There's another person that sits on this board that has 10 acres, can't have chickens. And I'm like, what the heck? How can somebody next door to me have a neighbor and they get that? I don't, so while I'm looking at the way the world is there a way to enhance people's life and let them have chickens with no roosters? If they have at least an acre or whatever. I mean, there's people right over here that have a 1/4 acre, half an acre by another board member. 2 people, they run around and, the one has a rooster, one does, one doesn't. Do I care? They don't bother me, do I have to swerve out of the road? Sure, who cares? But, you know what I mean? It's like, we're here to make people's lives better. So I'm like, is there a way without, the zoning will probably solve a lot of this, but that's gonna take a little time. So this person here, she's like, yeah, I can't have chickens, I got 10 acres or whatever, and I'm like, what? She's here, not zoned, I'm like, what? I said, my next door neighbor has an acre, yet he can have them, but you can't. And then on Jager Road, there's another where it's zone 1, and you get farther, it's a different, well, there's another individual over here, works right behind the wall, 20 acres. I said, get some chickens. She goes, can't have them, we're not zoned for them. I'm like, what? Can't have them. I'm like, that makes no sense to me. So I'm just saying, throwing it out there. I know I have about 10 seconds left. Is there a way to make it easier for people who want them? To not, they don't have roosters. How much bother is that gonna be? Right? I'm sure, Rick, your wife, she's told me she wants chickens in the worst way.
You'd be very wrong.
I could be way off, but this is people who have said stuff and I'm like, what, you can't have, I just kind of, now the ordinance change will probably resolve. So, I've learned to be patient, it doesn't affect me, but it's something that
I can honestly say I never would have guessed, well, I guess I should say I do guess chickens are a big thing now because eggs are so expensive, right? So everybody wants chickens. I never would have guessed there was that many people that have chickens or want chickens.
yeah. Well, people are doing it that are not saying nothing about it, so, and they're doing it that aren't allowed to do it, but people aren't complaining, so, well, one has. that's here or there, so, but I'm just throwing it out there, it's just, cause I'm like, yeah, you know, I'm glad I came because now I see there's, at the time, there was no rhyme or reason, now there will be a whole nice conducive, you know, right?
Chicken awareness.
Well, it needs pros to come in and reassess and do this stuff, so I think it'll be good, I think 25 is cheap. Percent.
3 minutes.
Sorry.
All right, any other public comment? Board comments on anything?
So I'd like to thank whoever's responsible for delaying this meeting for a week. Because of the weather last week. I appreciate it.
It's Keith.
Pretty bad, that's.
It was.
I just want to say, I just so you remind, like I say, I do the agenda, I try to send out the agenda packets on the Wednesday or the Friday before the Wednesday meeting, which gives 5 days, which is you should do. And if anybody ever has anything that they want on the agenda, please send it to me so I can put it on. We can always add things as they come up at the meeting. But a lot of this, because I do use this agenda to go by what I do in minutes. So you could, you know, anything you want to put on, you do send it to me. You don't need my permission or, you know, I don't decide. I do whatever you guys want to do, so. Just drop me an email as long as it's the Friday, at least the Thursday before the meeting, the week before, so that I have time to get your agenda. The packets on.
I think I probably made a mistake and sent it to the zoning administrator.
Yeah, so if you send it to me, I'll get it on there. I have no problem doing that. Just get
Yeah.
it, like I said, you can just do it like at least by the Wednesday or Thursday, like a week or so before, so I have time to get it ready and get it out to you guys, so you have the 5 days to look at it before we
Appreciate
meet.
you taking care of that. Probably the zoning administrator does too.
Yeah,
Yes.
yes.
Okay, any other comments? Okay, need an adjournment?
Make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second that motion. I mean,
Motion favor?
Temptation.
Actually, Keith, you gotta ask for,
Approval.
you can't just say it's adjourned, you gotta say, you all in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
There you go.
There we go, that was
All right.
right.
What about you, Ron?